You ain't never had no girl. So why y'all talking about me? Find something else to talk about. You talk about my girl. Go talk about your girl. Go find a girl. Go find a life. Stop worrying about what I got going on. I know what I got. I know my girl. My girl been with me for 5 years. Y'all are just not starting to talk about me and just not starting to be with me.
Did Travis Hunter really file for divorce just 8 weeks after the wedding? Or did the internet do what it always does and spin a 3-second clip into a full-blown soap opera? Tonight, we're separating what's confirmed from what's convenient, because when a rookie signs a life-changing contract, every glance, every comment, and every rumor suddenly comes with a price tag. Let's talk about the love story, the red flags, the money, the alleged tape, the teammate chatter, and the is she pregnant whispers that won't quit. And then you decide what's real. It starts earlier than most people realize. Long before the expensive suits and the Brabus keys, there was a DM, a not my type, and a young couple learning each other in real time, while the world learned them through clips. That little sentence, "he wasn't my type," is the kind of thing that sounds innocent in one conversation and like a siren in another.
I shot myself on Instagram and she dubbed me.
I didn't dub. I just didn't respond to him. He wasn't my type.
I wasn't her type.
I left him in my DMs for like 2 months. He was friend zoned because I didn't like. He was like, "Am I friend zoned?" I was like, "Yes."
Out of context, it becomes a headline. In context, it's two people telling the truth about how attraction can start slow and grow fast. But the internet doesn't sell nuance, it sells certainty. So the line became a narrative, and the narrative became a warning. If she says you're not her type, believe her. The question is, should you? Here's what we know. They met young. They didn't click instantly. The DM sat for a minute. Eventually she answered. They tried it as friends. It grew. The public saw only snapshots, an interview here, a post there, and built a whole novel out of that pamphlet. Meanwhile, Travis defended his girl loudly. Worry about your own life. That wasn't a PR intern. That was him. And that's why this story hits so hard. It makes people pick sides. Are you team she's not into him or team let them live? The truth might be somewhere less dramatic. Young people figuring it out under stadium lights.
I respect Travis all too much, and when you say that, you're usually about to say something mean about somebody. Heard there was no prenup. I don't like that. This man's about to be a MVP type candidate, I think. I think he'll be an all-pro corner. I think he'll be a very good receiver.
But this is where the story takes a turn. When you zoom out, the timeline matters. Not because every date is some courtroom exhibit, but because it explains the stakes. Travis went from campus legend to league storyline, from a college sensation to a first-round face on billboards. The numbers attached to his name turned people into amateur marriage counselors and armchair attorneys overnight. Suddenly, every clip of her partying, every comment under another athlete's post, and every wedding second got graded like game film. And let's be real, that wedding was built to break the algorithm. Dreamy Tennessee venue, designer, everything. And then the moment that set social ablaze, the new G-Wagon reveal. If you've ever watched a loved one freeze on camera when they're overwhelmed, you know reactions can look weird in the moment. But the timeline merchants clipped that reaction, looped it, and called it cold.
But y'all, this girl does not like him. She already said he is not her type. There's no way that I can say that somebody is not my type, but then all of a sudden know that he's about to come into a whole bunch of money, and then now that he's your type.
For them, it wasn't a smile that didn't land, it was evidence. Evidence of what? That depends on which thumbnail you clicked. And if you think that sounds like Hollywood folklore, wait until you hear how fast the prenup panic exploded. Here's what circulated. People swore there was no prenup, former athletes chimed in with cautionary tales, entertainers jumped in with bro, wake up energy. Some of it came from a real place of concern. Not everyone who speaks up is a hater, but most of it lived in that gray zone between we heard and we know. Why did it spread? Because money turns whispers into megaphones. A big contract isn't just a direct deposit, it's a bullhorn. Folks who wouldn't normally care about a love story suddenly care about legal strategy. The angle becomes, is he protecting himself? Which is really code for how fast could this end badly?
So caught up in being in love with this, bro. I don't even think this woman really loved you like that, bro. You gotta watch the signs, man. That woman said you weren't even her type. If a woman tell me she not my type but end up with me, then what's keeping you here?
And then came the state law talk, specifically about where they married. Tennessee. People ran with the theory that the location wasn't just pretty venue, it was positioning, a place where certain support outcomes might be easier. Is that true for them? We don't know. Do internet legal threads love to act like every marriage is a chess match? Absolutely. The more you watch these cycles, the more you see how things get framed. A wedding becomes strategy, a gift becomes hush gold, a pause before a kiss becomes proof. When you want to see a plot, you'll always find a clue. The danger is when clues replace facts. But let's talk lifestyle friction, because that's where the audience starts taking sides.
Congratulations on your engagement, but man, you might have to disengage, because it's something about this woman, man. And she was talking like she was really that chick.
Say, bro, you love this woman, I'm happy for you, but just protect yourself.
He's low profile by athlete standards. Doesn't drink like that, doesn't club heavy. keeps his circle close. She likes the energy, friends, parties, music, the whole outside vibe. That mismatch isn't unique. Plenty of couples are homebody meets social butterfly. The problem is that the public rarely gives women in that role the benefit of being multidimensional. If she likes to be out, she must be for the streets. If he waits in the car, he must be blind, convenient, but lazy. Is there a world where both personalities exist and the relationship still thrives? Sure. Is there also a world where that mismatch becomes a crack you can't plaster over? Also yes. The internet prefers either or, but real life is both and. Still, the warnings got louder. Clips of her saying she drank more because she's Hispanic turned into a whole indictment. People snipped the words and skipped the context, which is a fast route to a hot take and a slow route to the truth.
And when God gets ready to make you a great woman, you'll know he's gonna make you great by how you suffer. The greater the glory, the more intense the story. Because you can't get this all out of a book.
Meanwhile, Travis kept defending. When a man who could go quiet chooses to stand up, it tells you something about his loyalty. To some, that loyalty looks noble. To others, it looks naive. Which brings us to the loudest part of this story, the cheating claims, the teammate rumor, and the alleged tape. This is where the rumor machine goes into overdrive. Because if an audience loves anything more than a fairy tale, it's a fall. The teammate angle is extra juicy precisely because it adds betrayal to heartbreak and proximity to temptation. But here's the catch. The closer a rumor sits to the perfect narrative, the more suspicious you should be. Real life is messy. Rumors are tidy. A neat little triangle, husband, wife, teammate, sells. It also spreads without receipts. Ask yourself, who posted it first? Who confirmed it? And if the answer is a channel that loves drama, then you know what's up.
Yep, and despite him just signing a $35 million contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars, he didn't sign a prenup. Now here's what Mason Cam had to say about this on their Is What It Is podcast.
I definitely would think he should look in the direction of protecting his assets. Maybe not with a prenup, but there's other things you could do these days.
They'll try to hit you with that. Why I get a prenup?
A rumor doesn't become a fact just because it gets repeated with confidence. But it didn't stop there. The pregnancy whispers arrive like clockwork. It's the classic escalation. If you want to make the internet choose sides fast, add a baby. Suddenly the stakes feel biblical. Every look is a confession. Every silence is a verdict. And the silence is where people get braver with their accusations. Which brings us to Travis going quiet. For a guy who clapped back before, who told the world to mind its own business, his silence now feels heavy. People confuse silence with surrender. Sometimes it's strategy, sometimes it's growth, sometimes it's just pain. You can't diagnose a heart through a timeline. You know who did speak? The peanut gallery, the comedians, the former players, the friends of friends. Some told him to lawyer up, some told him to run. Some said, young king, we're not hating. We're trying to keep you from becoming a cautionary tale. When the advice gets public, it's rarely just for the person. It's for the audience. It reads like counsel, but it plays like content. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the business, but you should recognize the game while you watch it. Let's circle back to the wedding. That kiss that didn't look like a kiss, that hug that didn't look tight enough, that smile that seemed a second late. People projected sadness onto those moments because they wanted a headline. Meanwhile, another guest probably saw the same seconds and thought, she's overwhelmed, or the camera startled her, or her heel just scraped a nail. Reality has boring explanations. Rumor needs dramatic ones. In a world trained to judge relationships by 10-second clips, any flicker becomes a flare. Now about that car, the Big G. A lot of people expect fireworks when someone gets a luxury surprise, but a camera pointing out your face can put you in survival mode. You either perform gratitude or risk being labeled ungrateful. Some folks simply glitch. They say thank you light, swallow their real reaction, and then try to make it up later. When that later never makes it online, the cold narrative wins by default. Again, this isn't me saying she loved it or hated it. It's me saying your real reaction under pressure doesn't always look like your heart, especially not on command. We also need to talk about the psychology of red flags. The internet treats them like universal laws, but they're often personal preferences dressed up as commandments.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just because of all of the stuff that went viral leading up to the wedding. But I'm like, man, this boy can't catch a break because that has become the conversation around whether he should have a prenup or not with this woman, because there are reports that he does not have one. But
look, if he don't want one, he don't want one.
What?
If she says you're not her type, run. Some couples start as a no and end up as a never been happier. Others start as a soulmate and end as don't text me. A red flag is a red flag when the pattern hurts you, not when strangers don't like a sentence. If the pattern is disrespect, dishonesty, or humiliation, we all know where that goes. But one weird moment, one awkward clip, or one honest statement from early days, that's a shaky foundation for a guilty verdict. At about this point, you're probably thinking, okay, but are they together or not? That's the thing. The divorce headline traveled faster than any filing ever would. The settlement number got bigger with every retelling. And the internet did what it does best. It cemented a narrative first and looked for facts second. There's a smarter way to follow stories like this. You don't have to pick a team or pretend you know the inside of their marriage to have a take. You can hold two things at once. One, that people tried to warn him because they saw mismatch in messy public moments, and two, that rumors with no receipts deserve real skepticism. And if you think that's me dodging, it's not. It's me respecting the difference between a vibe and a verdict. A vibe is this feels off. A verdict is we have the paperwork. Very different. One asks for empathy and caution, the other asks for conclusions. When you mix them up, you end up breaking real people with fake certainty. Halfway through the story, the money keeps pulling you back. A big contract teaches you that love isn't just private anymore. It's an asset the whole world thinks it owns stock in. That's why prenup talk becomes a content genre. Some people use it to shame. Some use it to protect. But here's what every veteran will tell you if you ask quietly, not on camera. Protect your peace, not just your paycheck. Because if all you do is protect the bank, you'll still get wrecked emotionally. Paperwork is smart, discernment is smarter. So where does that leave us with a teammate rumor? If it's true, it will out. If it's false, it will fade, unless we keep feeding it because we liked the thrill. Most of these stories burn bright and die fast. They stick only if someone puts real names on real documents. Until then, all we have are moments and interpretations, and our own biases coloring both.
How do you maintain such a healthy relationship?
Don't let social media be in your relationship.
Okay.
Never post when y'all have problems.
Okay.
And be honest, always. Always be honest.
I feel it. You got the ring on right now?
No, I don't.
You don't?
Let's talk about that crying video, because it's the perfect Rorschach test. If you don't like her, it looks like manipulation. If you do, it reads as growth in faith. That's the danger of parasocial living. We ask content to prove character, but content is curated. You see what someone chooses, when they choose, how they choose, not the rest. The rest is real life, which rarely gets posted in order. Now, before we reach the home stretch, here's the part people skip. What does accountability look like when you're young and famous? Sometimes it looks like taking the L in private, not trying to win the timeline. Sometimes it's counseling, not clapping back. Sometimes it's boundaries, fewer cameras, fewer comments, fewer performances for people who would love your breakup more than they loved your vows. If there's a lesson for anyone watching, it's this. If your relationship is on the menu, strangers will keep ordering. And before we wrap, there's one final detail. The loudest opinions in this story don't belong to Travis or Leanna. They belong to us, the audience. We created a contest out of their clips, we made a scoreboard out of their captions, we demanded proof of love on cue, then punished them for performing. If that sounds harsh, it's because it is. Fame is a mirror. It reflects what we bring to it. If you bring suspicion, you'll see schemes. If you bring empathy, you'll see kids trying to swim in deep water. So here's where I land. If you're going to call red flag, call it on patterns that harm, not moments that confuse. If you're going to spread a rumor, first ask who profits from your share. If you're going to judge a silence, remember not all silence is guilt. Sometimes it's the only way to keep something from breaking completely. And if you're Travis watching this, protect your heart and your name with the same intensity you protect the ball. If you're Leanna and the love is real, let the action say it louder than any video can. If it isn't, let him go without making content out of the ending. Now I want to hear from you. What's a real red flag in a public relationship, the kind you should never ignore, and what's just the internet creating a character arc out of 3 seconds and a headline? Drop your take in the comments, keep it respectful, and if you want more deep dives that balance receipts with real talk, hit like, smash subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss what's next. We'll keep bringing you the full picture, not just the viral crop.